What is going on, everyone? Want to send a big thank you out to everyone from joining. I know we've still got a lot of folks who are filtering in. Good music choice too, by the way, team. I like that. Got me a little pumped up there. So again, big thank you to everyone. Appreciate you taking out, a whole 4 hours, half day today to really invest in yourself. And this next, set of, I think we've got about 10 speakers, is really, my response, and kind of why I picked the people that we picked was really my response to, during the first week of all of this going down about a month ago, I talked to about 30 CEOs, sales leaders, people in the trenches. And what I found is that there are really people in three buckets. There were people that were in industries that were doing really, really well. They were Slack, Microsoft Teams, those types of industries, or they sold into healthcare or something. There were people that were in industries that were doing not so well. People that sold into, travel, tourism, et cetera. But what I really saw is that most leaders were in this middle of like, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what to do. Like we're going the nurture route, but we want to do more sales, or we're trying to pivot. And so really I started to think, and I talked to the team about putting together, a paid event where we could, do this whole thing. And then we really talked through and decided that what people really need is something that's going to help all of us who are in the middle. And that's probably a lot of us who are like, things aren't really, really, really bad. And we're not going like gangbusters, but we're somewhere in the middle. And we need to understand what to do to move forward. And so that's really, my reason why I, kind of handpicked this group of people that we've got coming up, because these are people that I think, whether you're an executive and you're trying to think, hey, what is it going to look like today? And when we come out of this, whether you're, deep in the front lines, we've got some really cool sessions. If you're, a geek on the tech, or if you're a geek on, rewriting your sequences or cadences. And then we've got, other sessions talking about, using mediums that are really focused on where our buyers live today and how do we adapt to this new world. So I just want to tell everyone sincerely from the bottom of my heart, I really am super excited for the rest of the sessions today. If you don't know me, I'm Jake Dunlap. I'm the CEO of Skaled Consulting, and we're really excited to bring you the event that you're gonna really, really enjoy over the next 4 hours. So I'm going to kick things off before I turn it over to some really, really great, amazing people. And I'm going to try to kind of talk through the trends that I've seen, and from, my experience in all of these conversations, what I've really gleaned over the last month, and as, as someone who, it's my job as the CEO of a consulting company to be in front of trends, right? My job is to basically help you to, see it in front of the things that I'm not seeing, right? Or the things that you might be seeing. So let me make sure I can grab control here. All right, I think we're good now. So I'm gonna click through here, controlling. All right, so I want to kind of kick things off with this we'll call it insight. And as I kind of take a little bit here to reflect, is I'm thinking about over the last 3 to 4 years, and I think about, the most recent adaptation and evolution that we have had in our sales world has been focused around really our own internal processes that, really over the last 5 years, let's call it, where sales technology has really come into kind of a core part of our day-to-day. This big evolution has been us focusing on our own internal world and not adapting to our customers' world. And so we've really, kind of been in our own little zone for the last 3 to 4 years, and a lot of sales leaders or a lot of salespeople, maybe this resonates a little bit, that we've been so focused on our own world that we haven't been as focused on maybe our customers' world, and really our focus on the needs of our customers and how those things adapt. And so in this new world, we have to start to kind of go back to go forward. We have to adapt to our customers' needs above all. And like I said before, I think we've been a little stagnant in really pushing this to the forefront. That really for the last bit here, this last evolution of sales, we were so focused internally that we haven't been paying attention to how rapidly our customers' needs have been adapting. And so because we've been so stuck in this like iterate my own little world, we haven't watched all the trends that have happened with our customers. And so when our customers' trends now have pivoted so hard and so abruptly, we're struggling to understand how to continue to keep up with that. And so I'll give you a good example here. This is a conversation I had probably 3.5 weeks ago on a webinar. There's a gentleman who chimed in with a Q&A, and he said, Jake, I run an office furniture company. He's like, it's over. It's like, there's nothing we can do. Nobody's buying. And I sat there and I pulled up his website, and he sells those like, those like high back chairs and these fancy desks and things. I'm like, dude, you're in the home office business now. Like, you should be reaching out to every CEO, every executive, everyone who cares about their employees' well-being and ergonomics to then pivot to that. And this was such a radical idea. And I've had versions of that conversation hundreds of times over the last, call it 3-4 weeks, where we're so used to just thinking about this one thing that we're executing that we're really struggling to think about what are the other use cases? How do I adapt to my needs to my customer's business? And so as we think to this next phase, and this has already existed, my friends, we have these new buyers who expect different things from you as a marketing and sales organization. We have millennial buyers are involved in 70% of decisions. And so are you meeting them with where they're at? Are you active on social and your sales team's active on social? Are you meeting them on text message, right? Are we adapting? Are we giving them information quickly at their fingertips? Are we continuing to put up, gates and, enter in your email address in this big form fill that nobody wants to fill out, right? New technology, right? I talked at the very beginning here about, to me, technology is one of the most important things for you as sales leaders and salespeople to master, but you can't let it be what controls you. Technology is there to enable you to do more. And then finally, we've got to think about these new mediums where our customers are every single day. Like LinkedIn, for example, 91% of B2B executives say it is their go-to place for professional development. 91%. And so if I think about kind of like, where we're at now, it's really, are we adapting fast enough, right? Every day there's 128 million business emails sent. Right? I'm guessing that that's more like 160 million with everything, that we're going through now, right? There's so many different sales calls that are happening, right? Robocalls, other sales calls that we're continuing to go back to what we know, right? And we're continuing to go back to what is safe, what can be tracked, and what we're comfortable measuring. And as we think about where we go from here, and this is where I'm super excited for this event in particular, is the mindset that to meet our customers where they're at, we have to start to think about effectiveness over efficiency. And for the last 4 years, 5 years in marketing and sales, we have been so focused on, can I track it? And can I create a widget to optimize it? That we have forgot that the goal is actually outcomes. And at the end of the day, it's about creating the right outcomes for us from a sales organization standpoint and for our customers. Your customer doesn't care about efficiency. They don't care about how efficient your team is and all these different handoffs that help to reduce your cost of sale by 8%, but for them creates a horrible customer experience. They don't care about a signed contract. The customer cares about power usage. And we've lost sight of that with all of these different focuses on efficiencies. We've lost sight of our customers' effectiveness, and our own internal effectiveness trumps everything. And so as we go forward, in this new kind of world, in this next evolution of sales, which is what's happening right now. What's happening right now is not just a point in time What's happening right now is the beginning of the next evolution of sales, where before, we were very much focused on, challenger relationship building. We got all these technologies. We over-focused on being able to execute buttons and removing the people. And now as we go forward, it's a mix of both. And what we need to do is we have to start to put, this is a good, Richard Harris is the first person who kind of turned me on to this analogy, and I just have latched onto it and love it, that we have to focus on effectiveness over efficiency, right? And it's not that, there's a balancing act here, but this is where a lot of us need to be spending our time and focus. And the key here is like, look, this is not going to be easy to do. All right, here we go. So it's going to take hard work. And so what I mean by that is, for a lot of you, that this is a big mindset shift, right? That some of the things that you see here, my friends, these are things that you've probably heard about, but are we really doing it? How many of you, and sales leaders, I want to challenge you, marketing leaders, I want to challenge you, and founders more than anyone. If I sat down and you sell into VP of Finance, I sat down a VP of Finance at an industrial manufacturing organization that you sell into, right, or whatever it is, how many of you actually even know what that person specifically is going through versus a VP of Finance at a tech company or a VP of Finance at an insurance company? The amount of additional insights and depth we're going to have to go into to get to know our buyers is going to be more than ever. And so this idea of research your customer is not anything novel or new, but I actually mean that as we look forward and as I see the trends in sales, and as we as a consulting organization are staying on top of this, that it's going to be required. You're going to have to be able to know what your buyer's going through and pivot to this buyer's use case, this versus VP of Finance. So if you're in sales, make sure you're picking an industry that you actually like and you want to go deep on. And I think that's an important piece. You're going to have to connect with your customers where they are at. You're going to have to connect with them on text message. You're going to have to connect with them on LinkedIn or other social media channels, right? You're going to have to be an expert on your customers' problems, right? Versus executing your own little play internally, right? And we have to use technology to optimize our process, not to take it over. And we've got to move away mindset-wise from this one-size-fits-all, sending mass messages with the same generic messaging and half-assing our efforts. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. All of you know that if you took a little bit of extra time to do research in your marketing campaigns, if you took a little bit of extra time in your outreach, in what you're thinking and like the way that you're going to craft your messaging, to then customize it, it's a better experience for everybody. And this is the world that we have to move to, right? And not this fake personalization at scale, which is what a lot of us think whenever we insert these terrible custom fields, but really training our marketing and sales organizations to really understand where and how to communicate with our buyers. And this is going to start with all of you, right? That each individual, all change happens with people on the front lines doing weird stuff and breaking things, right? It doesn't happen from some macro, your boss just blesses you with innovation. That's not how it works, right? If you look at innovation in almost every organization, Apple, et cetera, there's one designer, there's somebody or group of engineers that drives the innovation. And so all of you have an opportunity, and hopefully, my desire is that you use today as a catalyst for that, is that you use today as a catalyst to start to say, hey, when I sit down at my desk, I just invested 4 hours of my life yesterday with some amazing people. I might do things differently today. Right. And I'm going to kind of leave you with this, and I'm going to turn it over to the team so we can get cranking. But in this old world, we've been so focused on incremental changes. How can I get 1% here, 2%, 3%, and focused on people executing this thing that we know will get us 2% better than the last thing. And we're focused on making this tweak or this tweak versus monumental leaps. And I think a lot of you have to start to decide, when you look at your marketing plan, your company forecast and plan, your sales plan, you as an individual contributor, whatever your day-to-day looks like, are you setting yourself up to make monumental leaps or continuing to make incremental changes? Because that's not how big things happen. And we're in the middle of the very, very, very beginning. We're at step 0.25 right now of what's going to be this big monumental leap from a sales standpoint, where before it was this big push into technology. Now it's going to be, how do we utilize it to meet our customers with where they are? And so I think I want all of you to really take this one slide from me today home and take this to heart. I want you to sit down at your desk tomorrow morning, and I want you to think, what am I doing to make a monumental leap forward and adapt to my customers and pivot my business or pivot my messaging hard to meet them individually where they're at, versus continuing to make some of those incremental changes. And so with that, I want to thank you all again so much. This is going to be a really amazing 4 hours, and then make sure you stick around. Unlike other kind of webinars, what we've done is something that I think is really cool, which is every single one of the speakers is going to be around after to do a private Q&A with you. So unlike another, session where you've got to wait in line at those long conferences, you're going to have access to everyone. They've all, I think they've said they're going to grab a glass of wine, a beer or something, depending on what time zone they're in, where you're going to get a chance afterwards to do some one-on-one times with each one of the speakers. And so again, I really want to thank all of you for taking this time out, investing in yourselves. And I really want you to take what I just talked about to heart, that our customers and our buyers' needs have evolved, and we've got to break the mindset and these bad habits we've gotten into just executing and think about those monumental leaps. So thank you again, everyone. I'm going to turn it over to Allie Ray Thompson from our brand team to kick off the day, and she's going to be your MC for the rest of the sessions.